special in spring.
Yeah, giving Kanavi the carry. They're going to start things off giving Loken a carry, though, in the form of that Aphelios. And this has been standard now for a little while. We're seeing a lot of Aphelios, a lot of Ezreal. Kalista did make it through the bans. So you could opt to go for the Kalista instead of that Ezreal. Also, things like Ashe available, but she's typically been kind of fourth fiddle.
I mean, what you would basically say with this Kalista pick, this DMO, is that we're going early game. We're going early to mid game. We want to fight you nice and early. We want to have these skirmishes where we can bounce off of the one item that Kalista has and really start to get this snowball rolling.
Well, Mitsuki's going to grab himself the Thresh. It's something he's played a couple of times already this split alongside the Nautilus and the Yuumi. Now JDG, they're going to have to stylize their composition a little bit. The Rek'Sai ban does lead you to believe that potentially that Lee Sin could come through.
You can see they're hovering it, trying to decide between the Lee Sin or the Graves. Lee Sin will be locked in. I mean, I'm still surprised Kanavi isn't going towards the Graves and the Kindred, but look, this is the style that JDG want to explore. It just hasn't been the best of explorations so far.
I mean, ultimately, I have faith that Kanavi can carry a game on the Graves, on the Lee Sin, sorry. It's not something where I don't think he's a good Lee Sin. Like, clearly Kanavi has proven that he's a good Lee Sin. It's just such a different style to what we're used to out of JDG. Now DMO looking towards their third and final pick of the first phase here. Twilight is a bit of a weird mid laner. He's not going to go for the Assault. They're going to lock it a jungle.
I mean, why would you not go for the jungle here? You know you're up against the Lee Sin. You can take this Trundle here and still give that counter pick towards your mid and towards your top lane as well. Wukong taking off the board is pretty nice for kind of both these teams because he can be such a nuisance when you want to have these kind of mid-game team fights.
So we've got relatively standard first rotations here coming on through. We've got that Leona versus Thresh, but we've got our bottom laners and jungles on either side.
I think for JDG, I'd be eyeing up the likes of an Ornn pick here, so maybe DMO want to take that off the board. You've got some super strong engage. With that Ornn, you'd have a really strong front-to-back team fight, not only giving the extra little bit of Ornn items over towards the likes of the Aphelios and your late game scaling.
We could see DMO either ban that or just pick it for themselves. Bear in mind, Chalitza, is going to be more than happy to just go for something. He's played a lot of the Wukong so far, but obviously JDG started things off by banning that one away. But Yagao being targeted here as his LeBlanc, that's his signature being taken off, and this Twisted Fate.
He was undefeated on that LeBlanc in spring, which is why we're seeing a lot of teams just try and get rid of it, but that Twisted Fate as well, now limiting that pool. Still have the likes of that Ornn up and available if Sue wants to go for it, but you do always have to be careful because since Ornn doesn't have the strongest laning phases, we're seeing the likes of these Kales and some of these late game scaling picks go into that top lane against the Ornn just because you have such a free time.
So now, second rotation, the Lissandra being banned is a bit of a weird one, especially since LeBlanc was already taken off the board. Typically, you see Lissandra as the answer to LeBlanc. We have seen, I mean, Knight played Lissandra, did a really good job with roaming around the map, so kind of a similar thing to the Twisted Fate.
It also very much guarantees your early game fights, right? Because you can go in with that Ice Claw, set up with the Frozen Tomb, and then you're almost guaranteed to have some sort of fight. Let's go!
Yeah, enough about Lissandra. Let's talk about this, because Volibear is finally locked in.
And I have been so excited to watch this Volibear pick. So, there is a couple of different strategies you can go with your Volibear. You can either go for press the attack in lanes where you're against something like a Wukong where you're looking for that straight up burst. I imagine here for Zoom, he'll be going for the Conquer build instead. And you do so much damn damage as this Volibear in the early stages of the game. It is absolutely insane. I cannot wait to see this pick.
Well, the final lock-in is going to be Azir to go up against Yagao's Corki. And this is going to be a bit of an interesting one here. As, I mean, I just want to talk about the Volibear. How is Volibear going to fit into a composition? This is the first time we're seeing it since the rework in the LPL.
So he gives really strong engage. So you got your lane bully part of it. He'll give that strong engage in team fights. And especially when you're looking at the likes of an Azir, where you want to try and get into his face and get on top of him, that Stormbringer ultimate can close that gap super effectively. You've got a very strong combo in the auto attack resets you can get off your Q, off your W, plus them applying all those on-hit effects. So this becomes a very potent pick if it can get into your backline. And this is why the rework for Volibear is starting to see a little bit more play. He actually has engage options in getting in on top of him.
Not to mention that obviously his ultimate Stormbringer is actually going to reset the duration on your Thundering Smash as well, your Q, so you get to charge on forwards, then jump, then continue to charge forwards to try and get your stun. Not only that, we also in the top lane have a bit of a lore matchup here because it's Ornn against Volibear.
True.
That is the battle that this is all based around.
I mean, it's exciting stuff to see either way. I'm not going to lie, I'm not following the lore too closely. I'm more on the analytical side of things, so I'll let you tell the story of the lore, and we'll focus, focus on the story of this game.
I can't say I actually know the story. I just know...
So you just decided to try and throw me under the bus.
Ornn used to give him armor, and then Volibear was like, sod your armor, I'm a bear. And I think that's basically the end of the story. So now they're fighting. Let's get into the game, though. JDG versus DMO.
So when we do have this Volibear in, you're looking at a pretty heavy mid-game spike for JDG. You've got the Corki, who's going to be able to come off of the Triforce build and then have more than likely the Mana Moon here, so you hit that nice 2-item spike. Same with your Volibear, you are still going to look usually towards a Triforce build first on your Volibear. Have seen some Bramble Vest coming in nice and early. You don't need that too much here when you're going up against an Ornn, but I still expect this 2 to 3 item spike to hit really hard for JDG, and then they can look to have some of these fights early. There is also the option here for Knavi to play towards Zoom in that top lane and really set Chalitza behind and give Zoom a lot of options. He's actually gone for the press the attack, which is this super burst heavy style of Volibear, where what you're trying to pin together is an auto attack into the Q to get the stun. Your W then procs that third press the attack, and then you're just swinging haymakers at that stage.
And I mean, just to clarify, not as in the set haymaker, just as in a really big punch.
Yeah.
But also, you can see a Doran's Ring in his inventory. Don't be fooled. He will not be going full AP Volibear. It's just, you scale pretty well with it on your W.
Yeah, well, it's one on the shield that you get off your E, it's on the damage that comes off of that, but also your passive does a lot of damage there, where what you're able to get is just a couple of 5 stacks of it will start to spread across and do a little bit of damage to your laner.
So let's talk about what's happening on our screens right now. Forget Volibear for a second, because DMO going for the late invade to try and grab this red buff. It's still not reset. Followed Knavi all the way out. DMO going to be happy with just delaying the start here.
I mean, both junglers are going to have to walk back, so it's going to slow either side down. So when all is said and done, it's still equal on both sides. But there you go. So this is what we're going to be looking for, is that Storm Splitter coming down the E. So what it does is it gives that slow, and it gives a shield based on the health, how much health this Volibear has, so you can trade pretty aggressively, and makes it difficult for anyone to really go against them.
Oh, he's going for this one. He wants to go for the battle on Chalitza, who's in serious trouble. The Lightning Claws proccing already from the Relentless Storm. And this is going to be a nightmare for Ornn, because that passive damage is going to actually be pretty significant. It
does a lot of damage, and don't be fooled when that Storm Splitter, the E, is on your screen. It is seen for 2 seconds for us. The opponent only gets 1 second to see it, so you don't actually have a huge amount of time to avoid it, which is why it looks obvious that Chalitza should move out of the way. Not so obvious when you're playing against.
It's kind of like parallel convergence, right? Where we can see it as a spectator, but they only see it once the grenade is in the air. Same deal here. You can see it for 2 seconds. The player can only see it for 1 on that Sky Splitter. And well, so far so good on the Volibear pick. He's 3 CS up, so I'm convinced Dagda. It's looking great.
So one of the big things and why we're seeing Volibear brought in is the changes to his ultimate. So the turret disable duration was upped by from 2 seconds to 3 seconds at level 1, and from 5 seconds to 6 seconds at level 3. So a lot more duration to try and use that passive. But as well, the epicenter radius, where you deal all of your damage, was extended by half a Teemo, about 50 units. So you had a little bit more buffering, I'd say, with that. And then your base damage as well has gone up from 250 at level 1 to 300. You're getting an extra 25 damage at level 2, and it's still the same at that third stack. So you're getting a lot more leeway when it comes to how Volibear can operate.
Yeah, and you may have seen Volibear in your games before the update, and you may have seen it in some of the regions and felt like it wasn't that good, because it wasn't, right? But now with the buffs coming on in, it feels like he's found a little bit more strength. He's found a way to get into the meta. And in case you guys haven't been watching, LCS, it's been pretty much 100% presence.
Yeah, it's been doing very strong over there. Same with the LEC, has been seen a lot of it, and you can tell why. I mean, our Ornn, who was our assassin mage tank thingy mabobber, is no longer looking so pretty when it comes to having an easy time against this Volibear at the top.
I don't know what to tell you, Dagda. Ornn came out in Season 9. New Volibear is a Season 10 champion.
True.
So I think he's been out-seasoned in the top lane.
But we already talked about, look, this Volibear enough. We're going to see him looking really, really strong for a large portion. He scales relatively well, not massively, so we're still looking at JDG trying to run off of the likes of this 2-item spike for Yagao and then wait for a couple more items on towards Loken. When we look over towards DMO, they've got some nice scaling in their toolkit because you do have the Orin here, you do have this Azir who will be able to do very well when it gets to that late game point. Match somewhat, I will say, but
yeah. It's kind of a weird one, though, because to have a Kalista and an Azir, you're like, one of them just really wants to scale, one of them really wants to fight in the mid-game, so it's a little bit disjointed there.
It is slightly, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, Orin still does a lot of work just because of how strong his Call of the Forge God is, as well as his kit can provide quite a lot of damage. So Orin's kind of good to fight a lot of portions of the game, so you can still try and play off Shubin, but I still agree, once you do get to that 2 items, that's where Kalista really starts to fall off. And when you've got the likes of this Volibear who's going to be trying to get on top of Shubin, you've got a lot of long-range damage that can come from Yagao, and Loken will eventually be able to beat out this Kalista as well. Shubin's kind of caught in the mix here, so I would have expected if they had this idea to go towards this more later scaling composition that they could have gone for the Ezreal instead.
Did opt to go for the Kalista. Maybe it was a bait from JDG, who have been aggressive in this bottom lane. Nice sidestep, though, from Loken to dodge the Zenith Blade. Kanavi hanging around because this dragon is onto the map, and Ocean want to start things off, and Kanavi will be the man on the scene to grab this one.
So Kanavi will only clear out the ward. If you actually look at the levels, Xiaopeng's been doing a really good job of clearing out while we're discussing everything that's going on the map. So Xiaopeng is actually in a lead here, and looks like Kanavi going towards mid, trying to help Yagao back and pick up some of this business.
Lumao might be in trouble in the mid lane, though, because Xiaopeng's coming on in. Death Sentence goes wide, though. That means Lumao should be able to walk away with his life here. Nice damage from Yagao to push Twyla away. And now we could see a flip on the scoreboard as DMO might move towards the dragon instead.
I imagine they will. I mean, they can start this up straight away. You got the Kalista, who pretty much guarantees it with the Rend, as well as Xiaopeng. So even Kanavi can make some sort of miracle play here. It's not really worth it. So DMO do a good job of figuring out what JDG were trying to do and setting themselves up for Dragon.
Very nicely done. And let's bear in mind, the expectation here is DMO are coming in 0-8 in games, 0-4 in series. They're up against the Spring 2020 champions. So your expectations as a viewer coming into this series should be very heavily in favor of JDG. So for DMO to start things off, reading the map so well, getting this first Dragon, it's a really good sign for them.
In this top lane, though, you can see the downside of Volibear passive is kind of like your Tristana AD carry. It makes it very difficult to try and freeze the wave, because ideally you want that passive to stop working, so then you can actually stop hitting these minions across the board and pushing the wave, but it's not able to do so.
It's worth mentioning as well, both your Q and your W proc on-hit effects, so it's not like you can even use your abilities to not auto and stack your passive. You're going to get 5 stacks on your passive pretty much no matter what you do.
It's a bit unfortunate, but still, I mean, you're looking at a nice CS lead already opening up for Zoom, and they still have a lot of leeway in these team fights to start using this Volibear. So although you're waiting on a lot of these items to be completed for Yagao, for Loken, if JDG want to play towards the top side, they can do a reasonably good job of just using Zoom's pressure to pick up the likes of Rift Herald with Yagao, rather than having Loken and Lumao try and jump.
And that's going to be your standard combo that you just saw right there. Go in, get this done with EQ as you drop the Sky Splitter, and it means that they're going to be stuck in, get hit by the lightning. You get a shield. It's a nice, easy trade.
And you really need to back away at that point as well, because the W does have that 5-second cooldown, so you're trying to play back while that big ol' X is across your body, because you will end up giving a bunch of healing and a bunch of extra damage to this Volibear if you manage to stick around or at least stay in range of the extended auto attack range.
So let's take a bit of a recap of where we're at on the map right now, because Loken is going to be doing a fine job on this fellow. So just grabbed himself a turret plate, already has a BF sword, so the damage is going to start coming on through. Twyla might be in trouble in the mid lane, because Gao has the package to work with. Chunktown, Kanavi, he really wants to make something happen. This is the second time we're seeing him hovering around a lane, but I just don't think that there's going to be much of an opportunity against an Azir.
Yagao's trying to base in Twyla, but Twyla's not having any of this, and especially when Twyla's gone for this Arcane Comet, you're actually just looking to poke out and be a little bit more obnoxious in lane. So these short trades where he's just able to get a couple of auto attacks down onto Yagao are going to work out a lot better. You can already see he's doing a good job of keeping this lane in check. Bit of a CS lead for himself, as we talked about. At least JDG, with Zoom's pressure being able to control Rift Herald, they're going to start it.
Yeah, this will be the real test for JDG. because they've been struggling to pick up Rift Heralds that they win so far this split. Kanavi going to go straight onto Twyla, kicks him the wrong way though, and knockups across the board from Chalitza. Zoom now finds himself completely alone, and he might be Volibear, but he's not invincible. There's a lot of damage, but he's still gone down for first blood. Herald resets, but DMO are in charge. Flash over the wall from Shubin as they get onto Kanavi. CC should be there, and a kill for the Kalista. Now onto Yagao as Lumao goes in, but the Solar Flare hits nobody. Twyla's alone, burning on down, can't finish the kill onto Yagao himself. And this is absolutely nuts. Yagao is going to die to the wolves. Jumped on down. Now onto Mitsuki. Somehow it's 3 for 3.
As Xiaopeng manages to get the Rift Herald at the back of this whole thing, that was super messy across the board. But DMO, they do come out with, well, kills apart that Rift Herald. And now they can start to get a bit more gold into the back pockets of these carries. Twyla would love to be the benefactor of some of this gold, because if you can accelerate this Azir, so you're still kind of on at least a little bit of a power spike for this Kalista, and your Azir's online, DMO will be in great shape. But we're watching this replay. This is all over the place. Kanavi goes in aggressively, but Zoom now tries to run for Kanavi, but can't get the ult range to actually get onto Twyla. He's not caught out here and has to use his ult to try and escape away defensively, but there's no hope there. At least I know you get a little bit of that health as the Volibear when you do ult. It's next to nothing at this level. And then after this, DMO have gone that little bit too far forward, so JDG are able to collapse. Loken solos out Shubin on the back line, comes across and picks up the double, but yeah, this has been all over the place.
I don't know. I feel like this was a bit of a mistake coming through from the side of DMO, especially from Xiaopeng. He went and did the Herald. If he comes in there, Loken walked in through past the Herald basically to get into the fight. If Xiaopeng is there, maybe he can't get the kills.
It has to be a call, right? There has to be a, we are going to fight or we are going for Rift Herald. And it looks like it's super split there. Now, whether it's Xiaopeng who's making this call of go towards Rift Herald and the rest of the team aren't following, that's one thing. But definitely they needed to be on the same page here, and that was not the case.
And having the Herald dropped in this mid lane, this might be able to be a tower going down. DMO committing pretty heavily to this one. The minions won't quite finish it. One more hit from the Herald will, though. Tower goes down. Solar Flare isn't quite going to connect, and Chalitza should walk away from this one. So nicely played by DMO. And honestly, a pretty poor response from JDG.
Yeah, late TP from Zoom. They're not able to get anything from it. You see Shubin on this bottom side as well, who's been free pushing this whole time. So nothing really committed from DMO. But you will have JDG turn on towards the Dragon. DMO can just give this.
JDG going to be able to smite it. Just Xiaopeng flashed for it and is going to force Kanavi away, but the damage is massive from DMO so far. They have a huge gold lead. Xiaopeng falls though. Keep your eyes on Logan. He's getting chased down, but he survives for now. Shubin can't get onto him. Zoom looking to get over the wall. He still has his flash available. Stormbringer, or Sky Splitter, sorry, comes through. Keeps him shielded. A JDG, honestly, I feel like they get away with that one because they were 2k down at the start of the fight.
Well, they managed to get those kills back. They get that Dragon as well, so they do manage to turn that around. And Zoom, at least in that front line, tanking up so much damage as the Volibear, does give a little bit of opportunity for Loken and Yagao to tear through DMO, but very disjointed fight from DMO.
Look where the gold is sitting for JDG. They are a bit behind in terms of overall gold for the team, but when you look at individually the carries, you got 3 kills for Loken, you got 2, 1, and 2 for Yagao as well. It's not the same story on DMO's side. Shubin wants to change that though as he goes in onto Loken. He's locked up by Lumao himself though. Shubin's in trouble. One more hit would do the job, but Loken can't quite get in range. In goes Yagao with the Valkyrie TP, and that's a double kill on the Corki.
And now JDG can look to run away with this. They can start to push in on this bottom side. You got the right guns for Loken here to tear through these structures. So JDG will look to get their first tower of the game.
And you expect Loken to be able to just blast through this one. Uses the Q on the last bit of ammo, and then he gets the shurikens to just annihilate these turret plates. And it's Loken and Yagao that are going to be able to happily sweep up all of that gold.
I mean, you were just highlighting how fed these parries were in JDG. 4, 1, and 2 for Yagao. 3, 0, 3 for Loken. And DMO aren't really able to answer anything on this top side. You're a Trundle and an Ornn. You can't do anything here.
And I mean, again, in terms of gold, we're now even. JDG have managed to catch up with that. It will go slightly in favor of DMO with this tower dropping, but ultimately it's a lot closer than it was. Look at the gold between the carries though. Mid lane is just about the same, but the bot lane, Loken is so far ahead of Shubin.
And that's it. Because you've got the Trun of the Ornn there, it takes so long to get through the structure. Well, now you've got JDG who've got first back. They're getting back onto the map, and they can start to make plays off of this quick tempo timing that they have. But I'm not sure if they'll be able to get much damage on this mid lane turret. You can see Xiaopeng moving across here to make sure those waves at least stay off this tower for the moment.
So Xiaopeng moves into the mid lane there, and we've got a bit of a reset here. 7-4 on the scoreboard as we head towards the 15-minute mark here. And you know, it started off pretty badly for JDG, but they have very quickly got back on top of things.
That's true, but look at the gold right here. I mean, DMO is still in the lead. They still have a lot of those turret plates that went over in the favor. You're looking at a CS advantage in that mid lane as well, which is helping out. So there's still a bit of gold that DMO have available to them right now.
So let's just talk scaling for a second here, and let's talk in a vacuum, right? If we do get to a situation where we go super long. Hang on, we don't have time for this. Chilitz has been found, and Zoom is here to block his escape. I mean, this is just going to be one dead Ornn. He doesn't have any teammates near him, and he falls down. Zoom actually using the ultimate there, perhaps a little overzealously.
Trying to make sure that Chalitza didn't flash away. He was trying to make sure he was unstoppable with the ult, but I think, yeah, a little bit over the top. You still had Loken there who's going to be able to catch him off the side, but DMO stealing away some of these camps on the bottom side and looking to just protect Twyla, who's going to be shoving into this bottom lane, but they do need to keep this mid turret up.
Xiaopeng moves in, Masuki as well. Lantern goes down there, but I don't think he's going to be able to grab it. Zoom keeps the CC chain rolling, and now you mentioned the mid tower, JDG straight onto it like a rash.
I'm surprised to see that Xiaopeng hasn't opted in towards Merc Threads here. You've got so much CC that's coming through from the Leona, from this Volley Bear as well. I think maybe opting for some of these tenacity through, or at least tenacity somewhere in the kit, could have worked out well for him.
Well, Dagda, if we didn't have enough action already this game, it's going to be the Infernal Soul coming up, or the Infernal Drake coming up in 45 seconds. Whoever can get 3 of them will grab themselves the Soul, which means that we've got a little bit more incentive for these guys to go toe-to-toe. My big concern, though, for DMO is they're the one with the AD carry that's meant to spike right about now. He's meant to be doing a ton more damage, but Loken is 3-0-3, so even on Aphelios, this carry that's meant to be scaling is way ahead.
And remember what we were talking about with that scaling, right? You want to get these 2 items onto your Corki. You already got the Mana Moon. Triforce now completed. So this is where Yagao is incredibly strong. You're looking at, again, that Aphelios, as you said, he's got the Zeal. He's working up towards that Ruin's Hurricane. So he's getting to the point where he's incredibly strong. The question that, oh, okay, that's where I was trying to see what the build was going to be from Zoom. He's gone for this Black Cleaver into Righteous Glory build. So he's looking to just run headfirst into DMO. And as he talked about, the ult giving that Q reset means you can get very quickly into DMO, especially as you level the Q second. You get that extra little bit of movement speed. Get into the mix to DMO, you then can at least stun up some people, and when Twyla then tries to ult you away, or you Mitsuki's trying to keep you at bay, you can ult in over that CC.
Sky Split are not quite able to land as the Drake is started up by Xiaopeng here. But this squad from DMO are not that tanky just yet, with a Black Cleaver for Zoom already. The armor will be shredded real quick. They're on to Zoom, but that's not really the ideal target. Knockup goes wide on everyone. Chalitza not able to find it. In goes Lumao to start this fight off. Shubin dodges the stun though. In goes Zoom onto everyone. There's a bear in town, and his name is Yogi. Double kill comes down for the Volibear, and now Kanavi could be in trouble himself as Shubin is desperate to carry. Zoom gonna chase him down. Kanavi's there with the Sonic Wave, and Xiaopeng falls as well. Suddenly it's all JDG.
A clean ace for JDG. They will turn towards the Dragon and pick it up as their victory prize. They can even run straight towards this Rift Herald as well, which is on the cards. You can see Yagao already leaving to start pushing in this mid lane. This is what we expected from JDG coming into this.
Well, so far so good for JDG. After a shaky first few minutes of the game, it has to be said, they have very much come into their own. You mentioned the power spikes on Corki, you mentioned the power spikes for Zoom on one item. They're very much showing us what that's all about.
Yeah, you can see how big Zoom is in these fights. Having the run-in capability off of the Q, but also that long range, well, somewhat ranged, say, engage at least with the ultimate as well. It means that Zoom can get onto the likes of Shubin, on this Kalista. You can get past Mitsuki as well. And you see here, Zoom does get locked up. Hops out of the fight for 2 seconds, but the movement speed is about 35% for Zoom right now, so he is tearing through these fights, and there's that big engage straight onto Mitsuki. That because you've got the larger range now, that ultimate hitting everyone in these fights and setting up JDG for success.
Shubin, just nothing he can do about that one as he gets chased on down. And this is at the end of the fight was just a sheer matter of outnumbering, but really great play from Zoom. I'd say he was the one that got hooked right at the start. He kind of got forced out of the fight a little bit. Finds his opportunity, and DMO maybe need to read the map a little bit better and realize that you're against a Volibear. You can't stack like that.
And now it's only going to get worse. That Righteous Glory is completed for Zoom, so if he gets on top of you, you've got that AoE slow, and he can even, if he wants to, just ult in, mass AoE slow off the Righteous Glory, but here we go.
Lumao goes in once again. Empress Divide is going to keep the rest of his team out, though, so Lumao is alone and taken down very early on in the fight. Twilight is stuck, though, pushed back. The turret isn't going to help you anymore. Home Wrecker, baby, as Zoom is still going to fall down, and it's going to be 2 kills going the way of DMO. This is the way to turn the game around, but Natural caught out and finished off. That's the Kanavi we've been looking for.
They managed to get the kill onto Mitsuki. Now Yagao running for the hills. They're a little bit cautious of Chalitza. You don't want to go in too aggressive here, but you can see Zoom a little bit caught out in the middle there. Wasn't sure if he should try and get onto Twilight, get that second bite down, the W, so that then he can get the healing, but that indecision ended up costing him to get stuck underneath the turret. But JDG, the engage wasn't the strongest. We're looking again.
Kanavi's gone in onto Xiaopeng here. The pillar slows him down, and he's not quite going to be able to connect.
Kanavi still has the kick. He's going to be looking to see if he can get onto Shubin, but not quite going to be able to launch the AD carry into Yagao and Loken, so they will back away. But yeah, he's still seeing a few cracks for JDG. Lumao going in overly aggressive in that fight, gets caught out as a result because nobody can follow over Twilight's Emperor's Divide.
Yeah, Lumao going a little too far in that fight, and that is always going to be one of the issues with Leona, right? You've got a lot of ways to get in there. You don't have many ways out afterwards if it all goes wrong. So Lumao feeling the wrath of that one, but not going to be the end of the world for JDG. Next Inferno will be spawning in 2 minutes, but you have to bear in mind, with an Aphelios, this Baron is always an option. Hang on. Nice little play there from Mitsuki. Fakes call out of Shubin just to keep his support alive.
Yagao does need to back though. He's kind of been sitting out on the map for a little bit of time, and I'm not sure how much gold he has accumulated, but still should be able to spend a little bit of gold.
It's really rough right now that Shubin still doesn't even have the Hurricane on this Kalista. You'd be expecting Kalista to be spiking super hard, be able to clear these waves relatively effectively. To be so far behind in gold against an Aphelios is a dire situation in that bottom lane.
Looks like he's just there. Yeah, gonna back and pick it up now. So at least has got the runes. But as you said, I mean, Agility Cloak already in the hands of Loken. So this Kalista is falling off. And this is what we're talking about from DMO's perspective is, well, if you're going to go with this Kalista who wants to be spiking off these 2 items, well, you got to have a team that can facilitate that. But when you've got an Ornn and an Azir and you're playing much more towards that later portion of the game, this isn't really the matchup to play Kalista. So now instead, you're looking at, okay, Shubin has hit his items, but Loken's already starting to go ahead. You maybe have Twilight coming online, but not as heavily as Yagao and Loken. He's not going to be able to match 2 for 1 when it comes to that scale.
And I think a lot of this goes back to the draft for DMO, because we saw them hovering the Ezreal. Yeah. It looked like it was going to be Aphelios Ezreal, as often we see, and then they were like, hang on, the Kalista's not banned. This is our, it was almost like they've been peer pressured into the Kalista by the meta. And like everyone else is prioritizing the Kalista, maybe we should too, but they haven't drafted around that priority pick, and now it feels like it's a waste of an AD carry.
It's also interesting to see because Ashley Kang did an interview with Teddy and he was talking about how Ezreal does pretty well into this Aphelios because he can keep it at arm's length. That's not what Kalista does.
No, and it's not what Mitsuki's doing right now either. Box to try and keep himself safe, but the Sonic Wave is there. Kanavi not going to feel it's going to be Lumao. Support combat here as we go straight on in with everybody else. Nice Emperor's Divide though to try and turn things around, but it's not going to turn anything around. DMO running away with their tails between their legs at this point as Shubin and Xiaopeng. There's nothing they can do to stop it. Baron is on the cards.
You can hear the police siren from Zoom, but it's DMO who need an ambulance. JDG, after that fight, will turn towards this Baron and gratefully pick up what should be a nice way to close out this game. Yagao hovering a dragon, though.
And he might just be able to 2v1 this, honestly. Maybe not, though. Halo Blades is going to do a whole bunch of damage. All he needs to do, though, is deter this dragon. He doesn't actually have to
He killed Xiaopeng.
Oh. Xiaopeng, you knew he was there. You knew he had rockets. I don't know what you were thinking, mate. Needed to go for an early smite at very least. Here we go, though. Yagao wants the 1v1. Oh, look at his damage onto oh, my days. Just about gets away with his life. The Valkyrie's on cooldown, though, and the whole squad is here from DMO. Goodbye, Yagao. This could be the Dragon, but now JDG have bought enough time. Zoom and Loken are here. Kanavi off to the side as well. Twyla wants to contest for this one. I don't think he's going to be able to find much of a way in, though. Bear in mind, Xiaopeng's still down, so this should be the Dragon going the way of JDG. It's just if there's a fight afterwards, that's where we could have some trouble. Fate's call from Shubin. The Dragon is about to go down, taken by Kanavi. Now they go in. Great Emperor's Divide, trying to get damage out, but he's just not fed enough. Shubin dancing around, but again, these carries don't do anything. Twyla and Shubin both fall down, and that's going to be the support staff taken with him.
Yeah, everything's gone disastrously for DMO in this one. 23-7 on the scoreline. And when it actually started out looking pretty good for DMO, again, we see when it gets to this mid-game point, they just can't quite keep up.
Now straight down the mid lane for JDG, and this is a little bit more of what we wanted to see out of this squad. It's felt lackluster so far in summer. It's felt like the team wasn't really firing on all cylinders, and granted, there have been some mistakes this game. Granted, they're against DMO, but hey, a win is a win is a win, and at least it's convincing.
It is convincing once we got past the early game, and I think that's the problem when I want to agree with you, but I just can't. When I look at what this team was in Spring, the smartest team on the Rift, able to pick up like 4,000 or 5,000, 6,000 gold leads without dropping a single kill.
Able to pick up Rift Heralds.
Exactly, able to pick up Rift Heralds and not turn towards fights and lose them willy-nilly. But this is a fight that they can at least be proud of. They did play it quite well. I was a bit skeptical about Zoom here. Not having that ultimate available as a volley bear means that you're actually losing quite a lot of your HP and your innate tankiness when it comes to these fights. But JDG are so far ahead at this point.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter.
Honestly, I feel like this was less of a really great play from JDG and much more of DMO not realizing that that's a fight they absolutely can't take. Twyla gonna get the Empress. You can't keep him away from you. In with the Stormbringer and down with the Emperor.
And you can see now Zoom even opting towards that death stance. He's got enough tankiness in that Righteous Glory, enough engage in that Righteous Glory. He's going to be happy to start pushing forward now into that more damage-oriented volley bear we love to see. And DMO, they're falling by the wayside here. Shubin not really in a position now to try and carry. You can see that Twyla is struggling on this Azir to really be a factor in these fights, with just how heavy this engage from JDG is and how relentless Kanavi, Zoom, and Lumeo are.
Now down the top lane they go. Bear in mind that mid inhib was already taken, and Loken's just going to force that wave in the mid side as he moves on up to the rest of his team. He's got a blast going to get there as well. This will be a second inhibitor. Just, ladies and gentlemen, look at the gold difference. There is no universe in which DMO can win a fight against JDG right now.
There really isn't. It's painful to watch, but DMO are going to struggle to keep these Nexus towers. One final engage.
Chalitza finds a knockup, but there is absolutely no follow-up. And that's just going to be Arnold bound.
Nice, cool.
Suboptimal engage! Loken! That's not allowed! That shouldn't be allowed!
He managed to hit the Q, he manages to get the damage, and Mitsuki is going to be the benefactor of a big old amount of shurikens. Shurikens? Shurikens.
Is that when it's a hurricane with shurikens on it? Yeah, I like it.
Twyla's gone in.
Nice little knockup from Twyla, but ultimately Zoom is practically invincible. Solar Flare as well, and the carries are here. Down goes Xiaopeng. Chalitza's not tanky enough. And Yagao, he's going to survive with the heal. This is going to be the Nexus falling, and this is going to be game one from JDG. Not a perfect game, but a win nonetheless over DMO.
JDG will pick up the victory off of that strong mid-game where they were able to get ahead. So Yagao and Loken getting super fed in these early stages. And once you